So, how many of you have heard about the importance of load-bearing exercises from your doctors, from your therapists, physicians? You should. If you haven't been told that you need to participate in an exercise regimen that includes load-bearing exercises, let me be the first to tell you, you need to do that, right? There are only two non-load-bearing exercises that exist in the world, right? And those are swimming and bicycling. Now, does that mean that they're not good for you? No, that's not what that means. What that means is that they're not considered load-bearing exercises. Well, what's considered a load-bearing exercise? Something we do in class all the time. Our sit-slows, right, are considered load-bearing. Our leg extensions, just about everything we do here in class is considered load-bearing exercise. Swimming is great, not considered load-bearing exercise because of the water and your buoyancy, right? But here's the trick to that. There's resistance all around you. So I love swimming. I love pull exercises. If you're doing that, don't stop. Please continue. Cycling is the same way. You're on wheels. So the power that gravity has over you in a pull and on a bike is much different than what gravity has over you when we're standing on our feet. Does that make sense? So what is resistance, right? What is resistance? By definition, resistance is an act or an instance of resisting, opposition, a means of resisting, the power or capacity to resist, right? An opposing or retarding force. The opposition offered by a body or substance to the passage through or steady current. So what I like that definition the best, right? The opposition offered by a body. In this case, the body would be gravity, okay? So we're looking at the opposition of gravity. That's our resistance. That goes hand in hand with load-bearing exercise, all right? Why are we talking about this today? Because we're talking about the importance of leg strength and leg strength in our lives. So I was working with a couple recently, and it was very, very telling because we had one of the spouse, the guy was really strong in his legs, right? He walked a lot, moved a lot. He's recently become sedentary, but he's done a lot of building up. He was in the military. So we have a lot of background there with load-bearing exercise, a lot of walking, a lot of push-ups, calisthenics. However, the wife had not done very much of that in her lifetime, right? She exercises, does yoga religiously. But what happened is as we started doing load-bearing exercises, right? As we started doing these different movements, her legs started to shake. How many of you have worked your legs so hard they start to shake? Okay, what that is that the muscles are fatigued. You have maxed them out. They are at capacity. Probably the next day or two, you felt some soreness. That's just the buildup of lactic acid, right? That's a byproduct of exercise or load-bearing exercise. When you're super sore, the worst thing you can do is stay still, right? And that's what we want to do. The best thing to do when you're sore is to move that body part, right? So if my legs, I want to walk. If it's my arms, throughout the day, I just want to swing them, back and forth. You don't want to kill them, right? You don't want to have this big, great stretch, but you just want to move and get circulation, get blood to that area, because that blood is going to carry that lactic acid out of there. It's going to help you from being sore longer than needed, all right? So our leg strength is the basis of movement. It is the basis of balance. I believe balance begins in the joints. You have to stabilize the joints. You have to have strong muscles around those joints to stabilize them. Recent studies have investigated the impact of balance training in old age. Boy, that's mean, ain't it? These scientists, I tell you what, on the ability to develop maximal and explosive force. In addition, the effects of balance training on reflex activity, right? I'm walking, I trip, my reflex is to catch myself. on reflex activity during gait perturbations were also examined. So that's perturbations, just disruption, right? Just a little bit of disruption there. Increases in maximal and explosive force production capacity, so force production capacity, and improved ability to compensate for gait perturbations were observed. So what that tells us is that the stronger our legs are, the less likely we're going to have disruption in our gait. There it is. Proof is in the pudding, right? I'm not going to read all of this, guys. As you know, we already had a late start. Last little thing I'm going to leave you with is load-bearing exercises also helps improve bone density, right? If you've recently gone and had your DEXA scan scores and maybe they were a little low, load-bearing exercises can restore that bone density. So a lot of us, especially female, facing osteopenia, osteoporosis, load-bearing exercise will help strengthen those bones, because think about it. What are our muscles connected to? Tendons and ligaments. What are the tendons and ligaments connected to? Bone. So as I'm pushing down on my arm right here, my muscles are what's helping me from either extending or contracting my arm, right? But that muscle has to create leverage somehow. If it wasn't attached to my skeletal system, it would just fall. It is attached to the skeletal system. So as I pull down, think about how much work is being done by the tendons and ligaments that are attached to the bone right there to allow my muscle to work. Does that make sense? Well, that pulling on that bone is stimulating those blood cells, that bone marrow, and is creating a denser bone. Does that make sense? All right. Last thing, as bone density and muscle mass decrease over time, older people become more at risk for falls. Many of these falls result in broken hips, which require surgery and often lead to lack of independence for the senior involved in that fall. Strength training can improve your balance and help you gain muscle mass. It also increases the elasticity of your muscles. That's just stretching, right? We talk about that, elasticity and flexibility. And strengthen tendons, ligaments, and connective tissues. All of these help to hold your body in an upright position. This is why we do 4 pillars. Right there in that one sentence, we had strength, posture, flexibility, and balance. Boom. All right. Good. Done. Did I get it under time? All right, guys. Let's have you come on up. All right. Check that out. Again, all sources, references are available at mybalanceuniversity.com. Go there. You can download all these. The exact notes that I read from, I post them on my website. You can print them out. You have them with you, right? If you need to convince someone or you need help to convince someone that falling is not a natural part of aging, go to the website, go to the references sources page. You'll have access to all those studies, okay?